Hello everyone, how's it going? So, more tragic news when it comes to the gaming industry because it seems that these top executives just keep making the worst decisions possible. They just double, triple, quadruple down on the same practices, trying to look for an easy payday while trying to deliver the most mediocre, sometimes just even worse than average game possible. But now we saw the closure of a very prominent studio that was well respected among the gaming community, Bluepoint Games. Now, for those who don't know who Bluepoint Games were, they were basically known as like the master of remastered games. They would basically just give it all they had when it came to remastering incredible titles such as God of War, the collection, the Ico and Shadow of Colossus collection, the Uncharted collection, Shadow of the Colossus, and Demon Souls were completely overhauled and were absolutely incredible. I didn't play Demon Souls, but I played Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus is one of my favorite games of all time. To me, it is one of the best games ever created in terms of a technical level and just storytelling. If there's one game you need to play before you die, that is one of the games I would recommend number one. But now it's come to an end of an era because Bluepoint Games has been shut down. This was reported at Bloomberg. Of course, the article is gated through a paywall, but other people have stated and cited the article saying that they destroyed the studio of 70 staffers because of recent business review. Now, if you know anything about Sony right now, they haven't been really making good decisions when it comes to games. They've been double, tripling, quadrupling down with live service games. Concord, one of the biggest failures in gaming history, literally lasted 2 weeks and they gave back everyone's money. Basically, they made $0 on it. Then, of course, they also had several live services that were canceled. They announced the Last of Us live service, which was later quietly canceled, so Sony, Naughty Dog could focus on single-player games. Ironic considering that Naughty Dog has been doing multiplayer games, and they were actually really good with it. The Last of Us PS4 version of the game still has a thriving multiplayer community, despite it having a lot of cheaters on it. There was also the Uncharted games. They had incredible multiplayer experiences, but, you know, they want to focus on single-player games, which is fine. They also had the I believe they had Spider-Man live service that was also canceled, and of course Bluepoint was in charge of making another live service for the God of War series. I assumed that it would have operated similar to how God of War Ascension's multiplayer operated, but we don't know anything of really much about it concrete. Regardless, I'm assuming that the business decisions around Bluepoint Games was because they were trying to create this God of War live service game that no one asked for. It got shut down by Sony after they saw how much Concord had failed. Like, they just shut down all their live services except the ones I guess we're too deep in. Because right now they have two live services that are set to release, which is Marathon, which I think is not going to do well. Let's face it, like, the game basically got crushed when it came to the plagiarism accusations. Well, they were confirmed. Plagiarism confirmations. And right now, as much as a lot of people want to give this game the benefit of the doubt, it's just looked like it's repeating the same process of all the other live services. They're giving a bunch of money to a bunch of prominent live streamers to try and push the game like they did with High Guard, and it just seems that that game is also not going to do well, especially considering that Bungie's reputation is right now in the toilet. Most of the people who made Bungie are gone from the studio. Destiny 2 is doing horrible right now, so I don't see how this game is going to succeed. And of course, a game that I have no idea who the hell greenlit this was Horizon Hunting Grounds. As a Horizon fan, I'm just like, this doesn't look like Horizon, doesn't look like it plays like Horizon, and it literally looks like a Fortnite version of just Horizon where everyone's just lol having a good time, and it's confusing considering that it is a game about robots that literally killed all life on the planet. So I don't know whether mine's set on this. They have two live service games coming out, and they closed down one of their most prominent studios that was well respected within the gaming industry, to the point that people were hoping they would do like a original title because they did such an incredible job, like Bloodborne remastered for PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 6, which a lot of people have been asking for like ever. that never manifested. Of course, we also have the treasure trove of literal Sony IPs, like they showed in Astrobot. Like they showed almost all the IPs that people want to see, not just Bloodborne, but you have Ape Escape, you have the Jak and Daxter trilogy, you have the Ratchet and Clank trilogy, you have the Sly Cooper trilogy. We don't talk about Sly 4, that never happened. It's completely erased, retcon that. We have Killzone, never came back, which is also something people have been asking for. Just re-release that game as a collection, give it to Bluepoint Games. Resistance, which has also, like, what the hell, come on. I love Resistance, one of the most underappreciated Sony IPs out there, but it's quite confusing that they would shut down the studio that has nothing but bangers and wins and W's. Like, I can't think of the top of my mind that Bluepoint Games was ever put into the limelight for doing something negative. Like, they have also always delivered on everything they've ever worked on. Whether it was a collection, they always gave it 1,000%. Every collection that they released was shown to be respectful of the source material while enhancing every quality of the game. Like I said, Shadow of the Colossus, I played both the HD remaster on the PlayStation 3 and the PS4 fully remastered. They were nothing but respectful to the entire source material. It was literally like one-to-one, like I was playing the PlayStation 2 version, only with updated visuals. And nowadays, it's just rather confusing that you would shut down a studio that has been nothing but incredible. Like, you literally, they purchased the studio after the Demon's Souls remake was released and was a huge success. Everyone loved it. It was literally like, if you were going to get a PlayStation 5, this was the game that you should get. But it just, I don't know, like, who is making these choices? Who is deciding on this? I would actually like to see what this business review decision was. Like, can we see the fiscal report on this? Like, what exactly did they do that was so horrible? Because when you look at Fireworks Studio, I believe that's what they called the people who did Concord, look at how much money they burned. And they only released one game that completely flopped, destroyed, and completely collapsed your reputation. Like, that hit Sony harder than people realize. Like, no matter what happens, no matter how much they try to erase this, people are always going to refer to failure when it comes to referring it to Concord. We literally have people referring to things like Concord 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's not going away. They even tried to they buried people who were trying to create a working mod to play the game for just, you know, preservation purposes, and they shut that down. They are literally trying to just erase this. You shut down a studio that has nothing but bangers, nothing but successes, complete respect within the community, to the point that if they were to release an original IP, even if they just showed a teaser, everyone would be on board of it because of the amount of passion they have thrown at every project they've ever delivered. Even when they were just working as support staff, like I believe they also worked with Santa Monica with God of War Ragnarok. Like, they have always given 1,000%, and you decide to shut them down, but you give money to develop like Marathon and Horizon Hunting Grounds. I know that's being made by Guerrilla, who are the people who make Horizon, but again, it's just like, where are these choices coming from? Do you really need that live service money? And let's face it, live services are dead. Like, no one wants them anymore. Like, the people who play live services nowadays have already invested their time and effort into those games. And same thing with gacha games like Genshin Impact. They're just going to be like, I've already invested thousands of dollars in this game. Why would I go and play something entirely new that's just a knockoff of Genshin Impact when I could play Genshin Impact? It's just this mentality that if we just keep throwing live services, keep using all this stuff, maybe one day it would hit, and it never does. Like, when's the last time you've heard like a live service that wasn't a gacha game that hit mainstream? Like, Overwatch, yeah, has been gaining traction, but at the end of the day, that also still had an established audience of thousands of players who logged in every day. So it's just like, you guys used to be like the kings of single player experiences, and now it just seems like you're going into something that you have not had success with and abandoning the stuff that you did have success with. It's just a huge tragedy. I just hope that Bluepoint would have survived, but hopefully they can find success other places, because these people, they were talent that shouldn't have been lost, and hopefully other companies will see their value. Heck, maybe they might just join together, start an indie company, and pull in Expedition 33 with Sandfall Entertainment. I mean, it happened with them, and clearly these guys know what they're doing. Yes, they've mostly known for making other game and IPs better, But you know, you can find success in that as well. Look at Night Dive Studios. They have a huge level of success by remastering old games like Turok games and System Shock. So maybe you guys can do that, where you open an independent studios, take contracts to remaster older games, and find success in that. I'm sure there are a lot of games out there that people want to see remastered for modern day audiences. So maybe that could help. I don't like seeing talent wasted, and in an industry where talent and creativity have been put on the back burner for microtransactions, live services, and battle passes, I want people like this to succeed. I don't want the people who push like stuff like that to not, to you know, be in the center of the spotlight all the time. But yeah, hopefully they bounce back. They deserve better, but this is just the cards we were dealt with. I guess we're never going to get that Killzone remastered or Resistance remastered, but we are going to get Horizon Hunting Grounds. God, this is like the darkest timeline. Anyway, that's it for me. Bye.